Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in today. I am your girl, Liana Michelle, and this is Faithfully Her. Today, I'm so super excited. I have a beautiful, beautiful person online with us today, and I want you guys to just meet Miss Amanda Sweet. She is here with us to tell us all about being crowned Miss Voluptuous Michigan. Ooh, and how she went from self-hatred and abuse to a journey to the grand international stage. I am so super excited to have her here. So everybody, please put your hands together and give a big round of applause to Miss Amanda Sweet.
I love it.
Yay! So I'm so excited and grateful. Amanda and I have been sitting here chit-chatting for a few minutes. But we're going to get right into Miss Voluptuous Michigan.
Yes. Thank you so much, Liana. I'm so excited. So excited.
No, I'm so happy to have you. Now, how long has Miss Voluptuous Michigan been around?
Yeah, so actually, I am the first person to be titled Miss Voluptuous Michigan. It's actually for a larger pageant, the International Miss Voluptuous pageant. So they are actually based out of the UK. They've been around for, I think, just under 10 years. And it was an ex-beauty pageant, a previous beauty pageant member. Her name is Natalie, and she had gone through that pageant experience and wanted to give that experience to plus size women. And so she built this beautiful pageant program called Miss Voluptuous. And it's amazing. There's a lot of women that wouldn't normally do beauty pageants like myself. Like I've never done a pageant before. So for me, this is really big for me. And so people that are not normally in pageants, but it's definitely to accentuate the beauty of the plus size woman. We're so multidimensional, multifaceted. And, a lot of us are apprehensive to do the standard size pageants. And so she created the safe space for us to express ourselves, our beauty, our brains. And I'm just super excited to have the experience to be crowned Miss Voluptuous Michigan. Like, it's weird to say it out loud.
And you are the first baby, so you just set the bar, okay? You set the bar for the people.
Yes, and I wanted to be a Sorry.
Yeah, so now you're the expectation now.
Oh, and I have, there's
so many beautiful woman.
Yes, and there's so many amazing plus size creatives and women in Michigan doing amazing things. So I feel honored to start this opportunity here in our state and just watch it continue to grow, because there hasn't been another person from Michigan submit and apply. And so now I'm like, all right, who are the predecessors? Let's go. Come on. Let's get together. Let's keep it going. Let's keep this opportunity for Michigan alive and well. So I'm excited.
So give me a little bit about your journey to here. You mentioned from going from self-hatred and abuse to this particular main stage. So tell me about that journey and transition for you.
Oh man, it's been a 32-year long journey. Like growing up, I've always been on the plus size side. I've always been a heavier young lady, and grew up with a lot of criticism, not to anybody's, to down talk anybody, but the people around me were like, you gotta lose weight, you gotta get on a diet. You're, as a young kid, as a young girl, hearing that kind of stuff, you kind of question your value, you question your worth, you question whether you're enough, whether you're able or capable to do things that skinny people can do. So there was a lot of self-hatred, a lot of self-loathing at a very young age. At 11 years old, I found myself on drug and alcohol probation, rebelling against my parents and fighting, fitting in. And I did that by getting in trouble, but I will say from that particular experience, it exposed me to volunteer work and service, which is a huge passion for me now. Had I not gotten in trouble and had I not fought the system, I would have never found service, which saved me in so many ways. But after that, I found myself in multiple abusive relationships because I just had this negative relationship with myself. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not worth it. I'm not lovable. I'm not capable because I'm fat and I'm ugly and I'm this. And that was the conversation that I was constantly having. So I found myself in relationships where I had conversations like that with my partner. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm like, I don't deserve someone that cares about me. So I'm going to find someone that's going to treat me the way I think I'm supposed to be treated. And I was in a couple of abusive relationships back to back. And at 21 years old, I was like, I'm done. I'm going to take a step away. I'm going to be single for a little while and started doing volunteer work and service, and actually started modeling. I got out of a really bad relationship and I was in a very, very bad place. And I don't know how you feel about speaking about abortion, but I found myself pregnant by my abuser. Mm-hmm. And it was at that point where I was like, I either have to choose myself or I have to choose my child and spend the rest of my life with my abuser.
Right.
And that was the first time I ever was like, no, I'm choosing myself. I'm making a decision for me. And it was in that moment where I had to decide that I was going to choose myself, that I had to live a life that was valuable for me. Because I wasn't. I was, drinking and gave up on school and gave up this and was just finding myself in a consistent, constant rut. And in that moment, that was like the first time I was like, I'm choosing you. I love you. I'm here for you. And it felt fake. It felt really, really fake. I was like, oh, I don't believe me. Because I never said that. I never had a positive thought about myself. And I was after that experience, I wasn't in school. I wasn't working. I wasn't doing anything. And I was like, what would I do? What could I possibly do to make myself happy right now? What's the one thing I could do? And I signed up for acting classes. I was just like, why not? Shout out to the Actors Loft, because that changed my life by just saying, I'm going to go do something that I want to do, no matter what anybody thinks, no matter what anybody cares about. And I signed up for acting classes, and all of these people there were like getting paid to do things that they love to do. And it was like this eye-opening experience, like, whoa, I don't have to do what other people expect of me. I can chase something that I'm passionate about. I could do things that fulfill me. I can choose myself. I can get to know myself. I can try things out. And from there, I started modeling because I was like, oh, they want plus size people? Like, oh, they want people that look like me. And there's a lot of model and fashion shows and model calls in Detroit that were calling for plus size models. And so I was starting to model, and I was like, oh, my body is not necessarily the desired, but my body has a place here. And it was through that experience where I was like, testing the waters, dating myself, finding out about things that I like to do and didn't like to do, because I never experienced that before, that I started to fall in love with myself and my body. And I'm like, this is me. This is who I am. I can't change it.
Right.
And I can choose to embrace it and enjoy it and have fun with it. And many years later, I'm now in a happy, healthy, beautiful marriage with a super supportive partner who's working in the office back there. And I saw a call for pageants for plus size queens to come and try this opportunity. And I applied and I got in. And I'm like, okay, there was a lot in between, but that was the long, short version of the story.
Yeah.
But
no, that it's amazing. And you said a few little things, so I take notes.
Okay? Yeah,
get my train of thought. And one of the things that you said was that kind of hit home for me too, when growing up. One of the things my mother used to always say is, my middle name is Michelle. So she used to say, Michelle, don't you gain weight, because I'm not buying clothes for two fat people. Because my mother was a plus size woman. So it was very important to her that I was not a plus size person. So it was, don't eat two hot dogs, just eat the one. or you know what I'm saying? Little stuff like that, like monitoring how much you're taking in, how much you're putting on your plate, how much you're eating, because I'm not buying clothes for two fat people. I would get up in the morning. We lived in a cul-de-sac, and at the end of it was a park. So I can remember getting up in the morning. My mother we didn't have a car back then, and she would walk down the street to catch the bus, and I would go and run 2 to 3 times around the park every morning. So you're looking at like 5 o'clock in the morning. It's dark outside. I'm 14, 15 years old, and I'm chucking around this park because she's not going to buy clothes for two fat people. So I can understand the pressure that family or whatever can put on you to fit into their frame of what you should be.
Right, of what they think success looks like.
Yeah, and that's a lot for a person to take on at such a young age when you really don't know who you are or what you want to do. You're trying to figure it out, and then you have this hanging over your head like a weight.
Right.
And it's a lot of pressure.
The actual physical weight, and not, I've always been on the thicker side, but I never thought I was obese. But I have my doctors telling me you're morbidly obese, you're this, you're that. If you don't lose weight, you're going to, all of this stuff is going to happen. And my mom grew up very skinny. She's a beautiful Filipino woman, and a lot of Filipino women are smaller framed and smaller sized people. And, and she's plus size now after having kids, and so her thought was, you're too young to be looking like this. And I love her and she meant well, but I don't think she understood the implications. And when we went to the Philippines to visit her family, all her cousins and brothers and sisters said the same thing. Oh, you're fat. Oh, you're fat. And I remember this was like right after I got out of those abusive relationships, and I finally had a voice, and I was talking back, and I was like, look at you. So are you. Like, look at that big old beer belly, and I'm like, so what, but I would say my relationship with my mom and my relationship with my weight set me up to like not be able to take it from anybody else, Like, I know that my mom was coming from a place of love, and I know that she was trying to do it to protect me. And I know that she didn't know better, not to say that she doesn't know better, but she was trying her best to teach me how to be successful. And I have to know that, like, and I don't want to hold a grudge against her, but it was very much like, they don't care anything in your size. My sister,
and when you look at the generations too, with the way that our parents were probably raised in their generation, their tradition, their culture, and then now here they are, they're just doing what they know or what they feel is right. So my mother used to always say, Michelle, you didn't come with a book. Parents don't get a book when they have kids. Figuring it out too. So and like you said, I know her words were not meant to hurt, even though they do, because I don't think people in general really understand how heartening their words can really be to somebody. So even though it was said and it was being done out of love, it still stings a little bit, and that sits with you because it does play on your self-esteem as to how you see yourself.
Exactly. And that was the kind of conversations that I learned to have with myself, like, don't gain weight, or the stores that I wanted to shop in didn't carry my size because I was too big, even though they did, so like having those conversations and not knowing any other way to take myself out of that bad cycle, and so.
Or even with going out at night, like you from Detroit, so it's Coney Islands everywhere, and that's the only thing that's open after the club.
Exactly, and everybody wants a Coney dog with chili cheese and fries.
And like, I remember my mom being awake when I walk in the door, like, I hope that's a salad. And I'm like, hey, she's like, you shouldn't eat heavy food and go to sleep. That's how you gain weight. That's how you get fat. And it's like, who's at Coney Island at 2 a.m. ordering a salad after a night of partying? Like, we want a cheeseburger or some chili cheese fries, something to soak it up so we can go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. And I love our moms, but they didn't get blessed. I feel like I have been born in the perfect era, because as I was coming out of this bad experience is when I started seeing this plus size body positive movement, which I know, throughout history, there's been a lot of experiences where plus size women are more valuable or more the beauty standard or whatever. But growing up, like we were talking about before we got live, you know, the MTV, the video vixens, everybody's like a 00. Everything's, you know, it's not catered to that size. But as I was coming out of that experience that I was living, the body positive movement was becoming a attainable and touchable resource for me, which I feel very, very lucky to have been able to grow up in this, because I know my mom didn't, you know, she grew up with that, like, you have to be like Farrah Fawcett, you have to be like this super skinny, you have to be this top model, tiny thing to be valued and beautiful as a woman. So I really feel lucky that I got exposed to that really early on. And I think now with more social media platforms, there's this riff where there's a lot of body positive, but if you're not in the right algorithm, you could get stuck in this other world too, you know? So it's tricky, but
like, I think I'm about maybe 15 years older than you. So I was coming up before the MTV era. So the only thick women that you saw on TV were grandmothers. They were the maids. They were the hired helps. They were the ones that, you know, that were kept in the background. So, you know, we had our beautiful, voluptuous lady who was the mom on What's Happening Now, or What's Happening. So she was a beautiful, thick woman, but she was still made out to be, her occupation was a maid. Yeah. And, you know, it was mama tired because mama carrying all this weight around with her. And so you didn't see, like you said, that beautiful, thick, voluptuous woman that was successful and was happy. And you know what I'm saying? And sitting down until later on. Yeah. So
we're still struggling with that. We're still trying to figure that out. You know, like a lot of the plus size people that are represented in mainstream media are a very particular type of plus size. They are an hourglass shape. They are within this like size 8 to 16 range. So they are plus size in the media standard, but to a real person on a day-to-day basis, they're probably like really fit and skinny, you know? And I have a lot of people that look at me and they're like, you're not plus size. And I'm like, well, I'm a size 20. And I have to like prove that I'm in this plus size community, which I've been living in this body my whole life, you know? So there's that weird thing that's happening now where it's like, I don't know if you've heard of the mid-size community. That's kind of coming out right now. So the woman that's in between plus size and straight size.
Oh my gosh.
Community. And it's hard
stuff for us to have to deal with.
Yes. And that's the part that makes me so sad, is because they're creating barriers to entry. And I'm like, what we need to do is just get rid of all the sizes altogether and just wear what fits us and enjoy the human body experience, period. But you know,
because I'm a size 14, and you know, growing up I was a size like 8'10", all the way up until after I had my son. And then, you know, it's just been like that, up and down. I'll lose weight, but I've never gotten back to that 10 or whatever. The closest has probably been like a 12, 14. But now I'm like playing around between that 14, 16 type stage, depending on what it is and how it's cut or designed. You know what I'm saying? And how many Spanx I put on.
Right. I got 1 or 2.
It's kind of, I feel like I love my thickness. I've been thick all my life. Even when I was young and in that size 8 to 10, I still had butt and thighs and hips. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been a thick girl, and I love my curves. I love my thickness. I love my softness and everything. But you're right, because you struggle because society said, even my doctor is like, oh yeah, you should lose 50 pounds. And I'm like, whoa, 50 pounds. And the guy that I'm dating, you know, he's like, 50 pounds? Where you gonna lose 50 pounds from? You know,
I don't know.
No, he's like, no. He's like, no, you could do 10 pounds, but if you do the 50, you're gonna disappear. And I'm like, you know, because he's like, I love your frame and your shape the way it is. Don't mess with that, and don't let somebody else tell you that you're imperfect. You know what I'm saying? And so it is that struggle between, okay, is this good for health reasons? And if I lose this for health reasons, am I still going to be happy? Am I still going to be soft? Am I still going to have my curves? You know, and is this going to make me more acceptable in society because I've lost these 50 pounds? So maybe I should do it for business purposes. You know what I mean? You're always struggling with where you fall in the whole scheme of things. So to hear that there's this mid-size thing now, that, you know, it's like, why do y'all keep putting so much pressure on us? Like, just let us live.
Exactly. And that's the hard part is like, you know, my sister was petite. She's always been petite, but now that she's an adult, she's got a woman's body and she's very curvy and she's not used to this. She was a 00, like for forever. She was the tiny girl that's, you know, we've had conversations about this and she's like, you've been, you know, plus size your whole life. You've been able to adapt and learn your body and try things out and do things as a kid and a teenager that now I'm in my 20s and I have to be a professional adult and I don't know how to dress my body, you know. And I feel like a lot of young women or women that have had children or that are aging are so focused on this number, like I'm a size this. And my biggest thing is like, drop the sizes. I've worked in retail. I love fashion. I love styling. I'm a huge thrifter. And I'm like, the size is a lie always. Like there is a range in which you fit, but there's this thing called beauty sizing, which some places will size down their items on purpose. So like if you're normally a size 16 at their store, you'd probably be a size 20 and they don't carry size 20. So it's this like status thing. I don't know the exact science behind it, but it's a status thing to make people feel like they got to go spend more money. They got to go spend money on their image. They got to go spend money, you know? And so there's this weird thing that's happening with sizing. And I'm like, if there's anything that we could do as a culture, as a plus size, as a mid-size, straight size, as a women culture, is like, who cares about what size pants you wear? Because no matter where you go.
How do you feel in your jeans? You know,
do they look
feel
good?
Sexy in your jeans? Do you feel good? Can you breathe in them?
Yeah, can you sit in them? Can you stand in them? Can you laugh in them? Are you gonna pop a button if you know? Because if you're so
if you go out for lunch with your girlfriends,
are you gonna be comfortable? Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I look at. I look at what makes me feel good. My friends always tell me I'm so over the top. They're like, oh my God, you're always over the top. You always do too much. But it's just about who I am, because I feel like I create a whole look. I create a whole persona, from the wig that I wear to the shoes,
all the way down to
like I put it all together. And I make sure that, okay, this fits great. I like the way this look. Oh my God, I feel so sexy in this. I don't care that it's a size 16. I don't care that,
nobody's gonna know.
Right. Who knows? Who's checking the tag on
nobody.
My jeans?
If they're that close, I better know you really, really well, or you're in my business. So.
Right. So, and I wish more people did that.
Yeah.
Like, just dress for you. When I get dressed and I put my clothes on and I'm in that mirror, I am like, girl, you did that. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving myself those props, because I didn't always do that. It was always about what I needed to wear to look good, to be presentable. Mm-hmm. So I'm not representing this person in the wrong way, or, you know what I'm saying? Yes. But now it's like, I'm just here to make sure I am feeling good. So when I walk out the door, I know I'm the showstopper.
Yes.
Regardless
of your show, and it's like, and I will say it's not easy to think that way. And I feel like we are very blessed to have figured out how to transition our minds and having that kind of conversations with ourselves. And if there's anybody out there that's watching and they're like, I don't know how to think that way, I have this really bad record that's constantly playing. One of my favorite things to do, because I get there too. There are some days where I'm like, I'm fat, nothing fits. Oh my God. Just feeling like that old mentality rotating in my brain.
Especially if you're bloated that day, or
exactly, or it's that time of the month or whatever.
Yeah.
In that place. Yeah. My favorite thing to do is listen to affirmations, because it's a coaching mechanism to retrain the conversation. And I say it all the time. I'm like, I like to like hypnotize myself, you know, like I'm already in this hypnotic state where I'm like, I hate this, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that. And it's kind of, you know, you're kind of hypnotizing yourself. Yeah. And you know it when you're in that space, kind of like nonstop, and it's itching. Mm-hmm. You just have to like switch the record. You have to change the station. You have to turn the channel. And so I'll listen to affirmations. And at first I'm usually like, you know, like, I hate this. But then after a little while, you start just repeating the affirmations and you get on a new track, and it gives you words to use when you don't have the words for yourself. And then kind of turns you know, it's another page. You turn a page. There's a lot of really amazing affirmations. I found this like whole world on YouTube of like affirmation music, where there's a lot of like women doing like R&B style affirmation music, where it's all positive affirmations. Like every single word out of their mouth is beautiful. I'm never like judging myself when I'm listening to it. And so that's my new thing now, is listening to like, it's like R&B and spoken word, and they're all like beautiful women of color. And I'm like, oh, this is what I needed.
And that's beautiful, because I do affirmations. And that was one of the things that did help me. I did, you know, I always tell people on my bathroom mirror, I have Bible verses and scriptures. And then I have affirmations. You are beautiful. You make great decisions. You can do all things through Christ. You're smart. You're you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm in the bathroom in the morning brushing my teeth, and I'm like, I am beautiful. Thank you. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. I am so much the same. And it's so cliche, because it's very like, there's a lot of woo-woo people out there now, like trying to sell you this coaching class and doing that, like, but it works, and you have to just find your own way to do it. It's all about that mental perception of reality. And when you get into that downward spiral, you're in your head and you're not in reality. And so things like that, or meditation, or stretching, or exercise, or coloring, or talking to your best friend, or I've recently started buying the dolls that I've always wanted to have as a little girl. Like I've recently started doing that. Okay. So like, cause I'm just like, you know, like whatever it is to change that negative channel. If your body's like, go to the store and buy a doll, buy Play-Doh. I literally bought some Play-Doh the other day. Like, but I'm listening to my intuition, because it's telling me what I need. And when I don't, that's when that spiral happens.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
yeah. Because one of the ones I have up is, you must learn to love yourself, flaws and all, before you can give or receive love from anyone else. You got to start with you. And that one is sacred. Like sometimes I'll be out and I'll feel like that wave of insecurity setting in. And I have to hurry up and say, no, you love yourself, flaws and all, you're great, you're beautiful, you can do, like, shake that insecurity off. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Like right there in that moment, I have to do that. And you were talking about coloring. My bestie colors all, like that is her woosah. Like, you know, when she just needs to let that stress go, or free her mind from whatever it is, she'll whip out her coloring book in a heartbeat. Like I could buy her coloring book for Christmas and she would make $1 million. Like she's super happy over coloring.
That's good that she's found her way to get back into her body and in the present. And that's the most important thing. It's like all of that insecurity happens when you're not present. You know, all of that insecurity, those negative thoughts, those questioning of yourself happens when you're not like physically here. You're here, you know.
Yeah.
So I love that.
We have to live in the moment with ourselves. So I always try to, you know, convey that to people, is to look in that mirror and have that conversation. Get to the heart of it with yourself. Stop, don't run from it anymore. Don't sweep it under the rug. Unpack that box. Deal with the heart of what is making you feel ugly or, insecure or fat or whatever it is that feeling of insecurity is. Let's address it so that we can put it in check. You know, you can't put it in check if you don't address it.
Yeah, if you're ignoring it.
Right. So let's address it so we can put it in check. And then we can start creating the things that we need to create to overcome it. The affirmations, those, listening to good music. Hello Gorgeous by Mary J. Blige is probably my favorite morning song now. And I'm like, yes, Mary, hello, gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? So do what you need to do to feel better about yourself. And even with health and exercise, I always say, especially for our more voluptuous women, because I don't like to use the FAT word, but for our more voluptuous women, it might be a little bit harder for them to exercise or move around. So I always tell people, do a commercial break. Don't put pressure on yourself. On a commercial break, just stand up and walk in place. Commercial break. That is movement. That's getting your blood flowing. That's helping your cardiovascular system and everything. And then sit back down after that commercial break. And relax. And you might have to wait till 3-4 commercial breaks down the road before you get up and attempt it again. But you're looking at 2 to 5 minutes of just doing something, every hour or, something like that to get it started. And then you increase, you might do 2 weeks of just the commercial break. And then next week, you might increase and add another commercial break. So now you're up to 2 commercial breaks. Before you know it, you'll have a 30-minute workout.
Exactly.
You just completed. And you're taking it at your own pace. You're not letting somebody tell you you got to be on this treadmill running 5 miles at 10 speed. You don't have to do that. And you don't have to fill your body up with all of these different weight loss tonics and products that may or may not even work for your particular body type.
Right.
Your genetic makeup.
Right.
Everybody is different. So you might be able to take the gummy pills that works for you.
Yeah.
But my genetic makeup might be like, those not working for me. If anything, I think I'm fatter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're just building that habit of doing the movement. And that's kind of what I did, like through the shutdown. I was very inactive. I wasn't moving. I'm an event planner by trade. So like my whole industry, my world, my access to my community was gone, and I'm a very extroverted person. So I need to be doing things like this with people to fill my cup, to give me energy. So I was just on the couch, eating, sleeping, working, and that was it. I wasn't doing much of anything else. And it was that same thing. I was like, can I do 2 minutes of stretching? Can I do one stretch? Just do one stretch for less than a minute. And I just started doing things like that. Like, I'm just going to do one. They have like 3-minute workout videos online. They have 30-second workout videos. I was like, apprehensive about it, but I'm like, can I do one? I think I can just do one. And then that's it. I'm going to sit back down and not do nothing else. And it worked. And like, after a while, I was doing 30-minute yoga videos, and it comes in waves. Everything does. Same thing with confidence. It comes in waves, and we have to go through these downs to get back to the next up. And it's a part of being a cyclical human, and it's a part of being a woman. We're very cyclical creatures, and we go through phases and ups and downs. But a lot of times when you go down, it's just to get to the next up that's higher than you've ever been before. So it's like, give yourself the grace to go through the down, knowing that you're going to go back up again. And so if you go through those waves, and I was just recently going through a really deep wave of insecurity, especially doing the pageant. I was like, who am I to represent Michigan at an international pageant? Like, who am I to do that? And I was questioning my decision, and it sent me on a really deep low, but I had to remember, like, let me feel these feelings. Let me just get it all out. Let me experience this, because I'm going through this down for a reason. Obviously, it's not easy to do that while you're in it, but
it's just that trampoline to get you go to the next, you know, I'm like, this is a
Right.
really deep down so that I can go really, really, really high up for a little while and then do it all again. And it's just the way of life. So there's going to be times of stagnance and times of activeness and times of insecurity and times of security. And I think that's the hard part about social media, because all you see is the good of everybody.
Yeah.
You're only seeing them at their best. You're only seeing them with full makeup. You're only seeing them dressed to the nines, when their house is clean, when they're feeling good. And people don't want to post when they're, you know, it's like we're getting a lot of content creators that are creating casual looking lifestyles, but it's still a performance.
Yeah.
You know, people aren't showing their depressive states. And
Right.
frankly, people probably don't want to watch that. Maybe some people do, but you know, that the ebb and flow of life, the ebb and flow of activity is natural and it's okay.
And it's amazing how much, like, I think it helps people. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of us feel like we're in this by ourselves. Nobody can feel what I'm feeling. Nobody can understand what I'm feeling. You know, maybe I've talked to a family member or a friend and they say, oh my God, just get over it already.
Right.
And they don't understand how deafening that feeling can really be.
Right.
To you, and they just want you to get over it. And I think that if more people would talk about those times, those hardships, and those low moments, it would reach so many different people to say, you know what, I'm not in this by myself. Somebody does understand how I'm feeling. And if they can pull through, maybe I can too. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it'll give that extra oomph to get up and go. Like, you know what? I remember I saw that Instagram post and somebody said that they did this, and like, you know what? I'm going to try that myself. And it might give them that extra boost that they need just to get through their day.
Yeah. You know? And I will admit it, I'm not good at thinking about content when I'm not in a good mental space. Like, it's hard, you know, a lot of people are like, you should be more transparent on your social media and you should share more and vlog more and post more. And, you know, I try my best to be present. So I'm not always thinking about making content, especially if I'm in a weird headspace. And so like having opportunities like this, or even just in real life where I'm like, hey, I'm not doing as good as I normally am, you know, or I'm confused or lost or afraid, but also still moving through and talking to people. And honestly, like, therapy is amazing. Coaching, you know, and I've been trying to tell people, I've had a coach tell me the difference between having a coach and a therapist, which you might not need a therapist. You might need a coach or a mentor. So like what they were kind of trying to explain to me was a therapist goes back in time. We go through experiences and try to analyze and figure out solutions for the present. Whereas a coach or a mentor, probably more so a coach, helps you prep for the future. Mm-hmm. So there's this perspective and then there's this perspective. And you might be a person that needs coaches.
Right.
You might need to be a person that needs therapy. You might need to do both. But if it's not accessible financially or not accessible in where you live or the lifestyle that you have right now, social media there's therapists all over, coaches all over, free content all over. Like, take advantage of that. Take advantage of free trials, take advantage of free education, you know, like start making your feed look like the person you want to be, following therapists or following motivational speakers or following people who make content that make you feel good, you know, so that you can get into that path. Because it's all about the training and coaching of the brain. Like, this whole plus size thing, this whole like fashion thing, this body image thing is all mental, you know? So we have to just give ourselves the right tools to like build that good foundation for ourselves.
Right. You know? You're absolutely right. And you know, creating content can be difficult because I used to struggle with it. Like, oh my God, I need to post, but what space? What can I say that's motivating? What can I say that's energy? And, you know, give them something that they can eat or feed off of. Because I believe being multiple, you know, they say, you know, the Bible says be fruitful and multiply. And I believe that means more than just having kids.
Yeah.
I believe being fruitful is giving the people something that can feed them. And when they multiply that by sharing that with somebody else, by encouraging somebody else. And the more people that they're encouraging off of that one piece of fruit, that's how you're multiplying it. So I look at being fruitful and multiplying way different than just kicking kids out my
Yeah, I love that. That's a beautiful way to put it. And you said something before we started recording, and you were talking about how you love to, like, the reason why you made this platform was to breathe life into people, and somebody believed in you and got you to this place. And a lot of times when I'm feeling down, I love to do that. I love to go to the people that are inspiring me and just be like, hey, thank you. Like, and you never know what kind of conversation is going to come of that. But if you're like, I'm seeing you, you're making an impact to me. You're inspiring me. I love what you're doing. Please don't stop. Like, even just giving gratitude and giving love might change your perspective on yourself too. Because it usually, like, whatever you give, you get, you know? Yeah. So if you're giving out love as freely as possible, you're going to get it back so much. And so I love doing that. If I'm ever like, oh, I feel like crap, like, oh, you know, it's like, let me just
and you know what, I always, and I've said this before, you know, I don't know, you know, what your beliefs are, but you know, when Jesus walked the earth, he didn't go to the kings and the queens and sit with them and eat fat and pretty and have the servants or whatever. He went to the gutter. He went to where people were troubled. He went to where people needed that love and that connection of love. And that's who he extended his heart to. And he helped and motivated and spoke to them. And I feel like that's what we are supposed to do. We're supposed to reach back and grab somebody that's struggling and hurting and say, no, grab my hand. I'm not going to let you fall. We're going to figure this out. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to pull other people up that's going through things and not just sit back and watch them fall.
Right.
You know, we're supposed to help people. So I love doing this and being able to showcase different people who have gone through experiences in life and that can now motivate and help encourage somebody else to say, hey, honey, I was there too.
Yep.
It's going to be all right. You know,
it's better. I say that all the time. I'm like, it gets better. Just keep playing. Like, that's my biggest thing. It's like, I felt like a very serious kid and a very serious young adult. Like, I was very serious about being rebellious and very serious about, you know, but I was very serious all the time. I was very critical of myself, very serious. Yeah. And now that I'm in my 30s, I'm like, I just want to play. I just want to do stuff that makes me feel good. I just want to do things that bring me joy, that bring other people joy. I want to be around people that make me feel good and experiences that are new and exciting. And that's part of the reason why I did the pageant, because I'm like, I've never done anything like this before. Why not? What's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen is I fill out an application, I learn about myself. I have to put it in words, what I believe I bring to the table. And if I don't get in, at least that was a good exercise for me to try to do that. Cool. You know, and I did get in, and now I get this beautiful opportunity to speak to amazing people like you and share my experience. But like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, if there's something that you're thinking about doing, like a YouTube channel or a podcast or a pageant or starting a business or going back to school or anything, like, what's the worst that can happen? You could.
So what, tell me a little bit about, I'm sorry, because we're being here just chit chatting. Tell me, okay, so you did the application, you got accepted.
Yes.
And so what was the experience like after that acceptance of being, so you like the whole pageantry side of it, what was that experience like for you?
So this is so there are other pageants like this, but this particular pageant did not have a pageant process for the state title holder. So the pageant process is actually going to be happening in Nashville in April, where I'll be competing with the international winners. So I'll be honest, I came in right at the very edge of the deadline. I just learned about it.
did the application process, I went through a couple application processes where they were kind of getting a feel for me. Am I the right fit? Am I, exemplifying the mission statement of the pageant? Will I be able to fulfill these different obligations? And I made it through. And now I'm actually going through the experience where I'm like, okay, now I have to go to the pageant and compete for the international title. So for me right now, a lot of it's been virtual, a lot of it's been paperwork, a lot of it's like a lot of paperwork, and sometimes you got to go through the pain of paperwork to get to the experience. And I'm telling you right now, if you got paperwork, but you're passionate about it, do the paperwork, because it's the same thing with scholarships. Like my husband, he got scholarships through school for everything. He didn't have to pay for a thing. You know why? Because he did the work, the paperwork, which was minimal effort, but it's still effort. And not a lot of people are doing the paperwork.
Right.
So you're the biggest competition is you versus the paperwork and the deadline. And if you can get past that, which a lot of people do not do, then it's a lot easier than you think it is. It's a mental game. Can you do all the work?
Yeah, you have to be committed to the process from the
process. Exactly. Yeah. But now I'm kind of like, okay, I need to identify places where I can appear as Miss Voluptuous Michigan, where I can make appearances, where I can live out my platform, which is partying with a purpose, which we could talk about. But, I have to find a dress. I have to practice for my interview. I have to like make travel accommodations for myself in Nashville. And I'm scheduling photo shoots with amazing photographers. Shout out Larissa Spears. She's amazing. She's amazing. She's a local photographer and she's been hooking me up. And she's also a previous pageant winner. So she's been giving me lots of advice and support. And that's the process right now, is just networking. I'm like, hey, I need to get out there. Hey, I'm looking for a dress. Hey, I'm looking for undergarments. Hey, I'm looking for shoes. Like, what can we do? It's a lot of like networking. And for me, I love that kind of stuff. I'm like, any way I can put local people on and bring them with me on this journey to Nashville, to this international experience, I want you to come with me. Like, I'm repping Michigan, I'm repping our state, like everybody come with me. Like, we're all going together.
Right.
So I want to shop small. I want to shop local. I want to work with local people. I want to get connected with the people here. So that's where my brain is like, who am I doing this for? What am I doing? How are we going to do this together? How can I help other people with this opportunity that I have? So that's kind of where I'm at.
So for my fashion designers out there, who's trying to build your house of fashion, here you are, a beautiful woman. Get in touch with Amanda, show her some pieces, collab on some ideas. Your dress might be the dress that she's wearing when she takes the whole international crown. How fabulous would that be, right?
Exactly.
So the judging process, what are the categories?
Yeah, so this one is also pretty interesting because we're still in a pandemic and we are going to be in person, but there are a lot of optional segments now too. So talent is an optional one, which is good. I love to sing, I love to act, but I haven't done it in a long time. I'm like, I've been practicing modeling, I've been practicing events. So like, I'm like, can I get this on camera? I'm like, I don't know, we can figure it out. But so talent is optional and you submit a video. There isn't a tourism award. So for people who love to travel, this being an international pageant, that's an optional category. There's a best photo category, which I think I'm going to work really hard to do since I've been modeling for so long. And I love creative direction. I love fashion. I love sustainable fashion and thrifting. So I think I'm going to work really hard to win that one. There's a couple others like service award categories. And then of course there's interview, there's the ball gown. And then there is a secondary interview process. So there's like a formal interview that you would do on stage. And then there's another private interview that you're also judged on. Okay. So, I talked to a couple other pageant queens previously and they're like, doesn't matter how much money you spend. It doesn't matter how expensive your dress is. It doesn't matter how much you spent on hair and makeup. They're looking for the confidence. They're looking for you to like go and represent. And it's very much like it's a business interview. It's very much like, what is your platform? What are you trying to convey? What are you going to do with the title and sell it to us? Feels like Shark Tank a little bit.
Okay. Now, is there an age limit? Do they say, oh, if you hit 40, you can no longer participate? Is there an age limit?
So for this pageant, there is not. So this one is great in the way that like, not only is it plus size focus, but also there's no age limit. So there are 2 categories. So technically I am Miss Voluptuous Michigan Miss because I am over the age of 30. And then there's like there's the younger category. Other pageants I've heard, this is my first pageant, so I'm still kind of learning the ropes, but I do know like for pageants like Miss Michigan and other like statewide pageants, there is an age out limit. So I think that's 24, where you would technically age out of the pageant system, but this particular pageant is age friendly.
Oh, and that's beautiful because, you know, you have a lot of women who might be interested in something like this and they think, oh, I'm over 30. I'm not going to qualify, or I can't do it. Or because I am a thick woman, I can't be in a beauty pageant. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now let's talk about your platform, Party with a Purpose. I love that.
Oh, thank you. I live that. I live partying with a purpose. Like I've mentioned, service work changed my life, and I was thrusted into doing community service as a young person, but I found a passion for it and a love for giving back. And I love to throw parties and events. My mom is a hostess with the mostest. I grew up in a household where we're constantly hosting and throwing parties. So that was just like kind of in my DNA. And she's also a very big giver. So just being around that as a young person, and then into my adulthood and college, I was always doing service work and creating events for fundraisers and parties and things like that. After I graduated school, I started doing an event planning for a publication. And when I moved to Texas, I was remote. I was in Texas for about 4 years. I was remote. I was too old for school. I was working from home. I didn't have any way to make friends. I was just like at Starbucks, trying to talk to the baristas, at Walmart, trying to make friends with people. You know, I'm like, I don't know anybody here. I don't know what I'm doing. You know, so I started volunteering and I started building my community. And then I built an organization called The Revamp, and which I just recently brought here. So we do quarterly clothing swaps where people share sustainable fashion, and then everything that's left over, we donate to a community in need. So while we were in Texas, we were giving, it was so fun. It's so fun. I'll do another one after the pageant. But, you know, like for here, the last one we did, we had over 100 people come. They were all sharing clothes. And then at the very end, we were able to give 1,600 pounds of clothing to an organization called Destined for Greatness, where Shadora, she's amazing. She helps homeless people and homeless teens like with resources. So she took that 1,600 pounds of leftover clothing, gave it directly to homeless people in Detroit, like from us to them. There was no middleman, there was no thrift store, there was no resale. And so it was really, really fun to do that. And I love throwing parties where we can do service. So when they were like, what is your platform? I was like, I don't know, sustainable fashion. Oh, I don't know, you know, body positivity. That's kind of like the whole pageant itself. Right. And Partying with a Purpose came to mind because I truly believe that we as a collective can change the world by adding service elements to parties. Like you can have fun and do service that brings you joy and that's fun for people to do, and also help people that are next to you, help your neighbors, help your community. Like you don't have to be, you can if you want, but you don't have to be picking up garbage off the side of the street to do service. You don't have to be at a soup kitchen if you want to be, absolutely, we need that, but you don't have to do that. And I learned very quickly while I was in Texas, the people that were volunteering for me had never done service work before. They never volunteered before. They didn't know that they could do volunteer work that was fun. And they didn't know that they could make friends and figure out things that they wanted to do in their life by doing volunteer work.
Right.
And so I believe wholeheartedly that you can educate yourself completely through volunteering. You can build a network through volunteering. You can have fun volunteering, and you can party with purpose. Like, it can be fun.
Everybody loves a party, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
give me the margarita, baby, and
yes,
and donate to whatever. Yeah.
Next time you have your birthday party and you're going to a bar, tell them that everybody that's with your party or everybody that buys a margarita, if they could donate $1 to the shelter that's next door. You know, like, that's all you have to do. Like, if you're doing a brunch event, like, I'll give you 25% off your ticket if you bring in canned food. If you're hosting a dinner party, like, I'll give you this if you bring sanitary pads and products. You know, like, there are ways to do that. And it's so fulfilling and rewarding, which is a selfish reason to do it. But if that is your reasoning to do it, it's still helping people. Like, find a way that makes you feel good and then also makes the community feel good. I feel like it's totally possible.
And like we were talking before we actually started recording, and I was telling you, I think I've always been that person that always just want to help somebody. Like, even if it's to my detriment, I'm trying to help somebody. So I love the idea of partying with a purpose, because it's a way where you can help so many more people, and you can reach people that you may not know. And they don't have to know my name to be helped or accept the help or those clothes. It's wintertime, you know? Yeah. So thinking about clothing the homeless, that's a beautiful thought of 1,600 pounds worth of clothing. I just gave away like 3 bags of clothes.
And that, you know, exactly. I know. Yes, I know exactly. Like, for me personally, my party with purpose looks like a clothing swap, because I am a very avid thrifter and shopper, and I constantly have bags. I have never ending bags of clothes, you know? And so, like, why do I need to like hold on to it? Why can't I let my friends wear, like, I want to wear what you're wearing. You want to wear what I'm wearing. Let's just share it, save our money, share it, use it again, give it a second life. And then whatever else is left over, you know, why not give it to people that need it? And then moreover, the organization that I was working with in Texas, Denton County Friends of the Family, they had a thrift store that was free for domestic violence victims, and anything they didn't sell, they sent to a recycling center, which to me was like, I'm not super educated in sustainability, but that feels like an amazing process for these clothes that are just going to end up in the landfill if I just throw them away when I'm done with them, you know? That looks like for me, but for you, it could be something different. You could have a networking night with your, you know, with all of your guests that have ever been on your show, and have a ticket price and say, hey,
okay, you covered everything.
You know, half off your ticket if you, you know, do an hour of service work, or if you help me stuff these care packages.
And I do, you know, like I shop at consignment stores. I love a consignment store. Like, oh my God.
Have you heard of Hips?
Where is it?
They're in Clawson.
Okay, no, I haven't.
They are a plus size focused thrift store, consignment shop in Clawson. Vicky is the owner. She's amazing. All plus size only.
Okay, like, I will travel for that, man.
Amazing. She's amazing. The store is amazing. They always have awesome products. Like, go there.
Okay, because I'm pretty much downriver area. So, you know, Southgate, Taylor, even Livonia, you know, Westland, those, like, I will kind of populate the little stores around that area. And I could just really be driving and be like, oh my God, does that say thrift?
Yes. Guilty. Yeah, I love it. I'm like trying to find a way to do this whole pageant. Every single outfit I have to wear, like, either thrifted, because I love, like, I'm very plain today, but like I'm all about that funky fashion and putting together like a poppy outfit that looks rich and expensive and luxurious, but it was $5. Like,
Okay. Okay.
you know?
I'm telling you, girl. Yes. Like I've bought some purses from consignment stores, like
Mhm. Amazing.
name brand, Michael Kors, Gucci,
Yes.
yes, bag, everything. And somebody else that went up in Macy's and paid a grip for that bag, and I walked away with it for $60. How about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just went and
I
paid
love a
$2,000
deal.
for that purse, and I got it for 60
You
at a
know, and
consignment
everybody has,
store.
yes, exactly. And you know,
Yeah,
you need to go spend, because my mom is very, like, she's very into brand names. She loves that. She loves like saving and going buying her Gucci bag, and she loves to like work for her Louis bag, and it's like a big thing for her. But she didn't have that growing up. You know,
right.
she was a victim of human trafficking, so she didn't
Oh my God.
experience the luxury, and now she has this life where she is making her own money fairly, and she's working fairly for it, and she can save and buy her Louis bag. And for her, that's success for her. But for me, I'm like, you want to hand me down? You want to, like, you know, but like for her, that's what works for her, you know.
Yeah,
For me,
yeah.
I'm all about the thrift. I'm like,
And see, I'm a clothes. I like shoes and purses. I will say I am a shoe and purse whore. Like, for lack of a better word, I am. So whenever I do see a consignment store, that's the first thing I'm looking for, is what is the hottest bag in this store? Because that's what I'm
oh,
going to spend my money on.
oh
Like,
yes,
yeah,
they're
I'm going
always the
straight for that.
I love it. I live for it. It's amazing.
But I know that my pockets will not allow me to go to the Louis store and buy a bag out that actual store. My pockets is not going to allow me to go to Macy's to
Yeah.
the coach and grab that coach off the wall. My
Yes.
pocket says go to the consignment store and see what they have that you
Yeah.
don't already have. What different shape, what different color, what different bag is there that you don't already have in your closet, and let's buy that. You know what I'm saying? So
I love that. And I'm a very, like, how can we, you know, that rebellious spirit is still in me. So like I kind of almost refuse, like I could do what my mom does and save, and every birthday and anniversary ask for a gift card. Like that's what she does. And I could do that, but I'm like a nonconformist in that way. I'm like, I want to get the weirdest looking bag, the most off the wall looking bag that nobody else has, super vintage or super retro or super funky, because I don't want anybody else to have it. I don't want to walk around and have my Louis bag that I spent all this money on, and there's all
and
these other people
five
that
other people in the room have the same bag. Right,
yeah,
right.
no shade whatsoever. But I'm just like, give me something in the exact opposite direction. What's the weirdest,
Yeah.
least seen bag out there? Like, let me
Now,
have
I am
that.
like that with shoes. Like, I
Yeah.
love a high heel. I'm 5'2" in real life.
Okay.
So I love a 3 to 6 inch, 5 inch. Like, I love a high heel. And that's a complex that I think I inherited from like high school, because I was
Okay.
like really short. And two of my friends in high school, they were tall, light skinned, beautiful, long hair, this and that. And I always felt like people were looking down on me, or they were not seeing me. You know, they
Oh,
saw them, but they didn't see me. I was
yes.
just the little short, dark-skinned friend. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have my own identity at that particular point. So when I started wearing heels, I started wearing heels. And it's like, what, I don't care what it, jeans, tank top, heels. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So
Yes. Oh, I love
always
it.
with that heel on, like, you guys are not going to ignore me anymore.
No
And even if
more.
you do, you're definitely not going to ignore my shoes. They're
Gonna see
fat.
something.
You know what
Yes.
I'm saying?
Yes. I love that.
Definitely have a love for heels. Like right now, I went through, like I said, I purged the closet and cleaned some
Yep.
things out. And I'm still sitting here like, I only got rid of 3 pair of shoes. That is so sad because I have probably like 80. So it's like 80
yeah.
I only got rid of.
You never know.
Like, what's wrong with me? I could give more away. But I'm like, no, I think I'm gonna run that heel back. I'm gonna record that one. That heel is way too fabulous to give away. You know,
there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You earned it, you bought it, it's yours. If you want to keep it, keep it. You know, like I wish I was a heel girl. I am not. I'm like,
God, my auntie worked. My auntie used to work for Tom McCann. I don't know if you remember Tom McCann as a shoe store back in the day. I'm giving my age away again, people.
Oh,
Tom McCann, and she bought me my first pair of 2.5-inch pumps. And I just fell in love with the high heel, of the way it made my legs shape, and you know what I'm saying? It just gave me a different feeling. So even now, if I'm feeling down or bad, sometimes I'll just go in my closet and put on a pair of heels and walk around the house and get that sexy feeling. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm like, okay, I shook the feeling. I feel better. I can take the shoes off now. But it's a therapeutic thing for me. It just makes me feel like whatever it is I have on, that heel just makes me feel like I'm over the moon, is over the top. And the glitzier, the sparkler, the higher the heel, the better.
I love it. I wish my mom is a lot like that. But I'm just like, because I'm an event person, and I'm just like, give me combat boots, give me some Doc Martens, give me some sneakers. And I just want to be able to do all things at any time. You know, my husband's always like, we need a more versatile wardrobe for you. Cause he's like, well, what if we have to go walk around in the woods? And I'm like, okay, I'm down. But I wish I was more of a shoe person. Cause my shoe, out of everything that I have, like I'm very into like layering and jackets and dresses and accessories, but shoes, I'm lacking in the shoe department. I'm lacking.
Well, we'll go shoe shopping, and I'll take you to some of my great little hot spots that nobody know about, where I
need help.
Like I just bought 2 pair of shoes last weekend from my secret little store. I'm not going to tell anybody. And for 2 pair of heels that are fabulous, they're BEBE, I think that's the brand. I only paid $7 for both pair.
Are they new or consignment?
Consignment. And I came home and I alcoholed the inside and alcoholed the shoe and everything. And I'm like, hey, don't nobody have these. I can't wait for summertime when I pull these out and shock the world. So
yes, we're gonna need to talk, because I need heels for this whole pageant. It's 6 days. I'm like, I gotta wear heels for this whole thing, you know, like probably can get away with not, but you know, even doing runway, like when I was doing runway modeling and everything, I would literally only wear high heels to practice. And like I would bring them in a bag. I would have my sneakers on. I would go to practice, put the heels on, take them off immediately. Like
right.
You know, so
well, you know they have shoe gummy. I think that's the name of the company now, Shoe Gummies, where you put it on the bottom of the shoe, not inside, but on the outside, on the bottom. And it's supposed to give you like this extra cushion. So your feet feel better the longer you have to be in that shoe. So invest in that for your 6 days with them heels on to give you a little bit of relief while you're in that shoe.
And I always feel like a lack of confidence in a heel, especially like a thin heel, just because I feel my weight when I'm wearing like a thin heel that's like close to like where the ball of your feet is close to the ground. Like very thin shoe with a thin heel. Like I start to feel like top heavy, you know, I don't feel confident like running around. So like I saw that shoe gummy commercial on TikTok like last week. I need to save this.
Because, you know, I have a couple of those like thin, so like that where your foot is right on the ground.
Yes.
And actually, I could have gave those shoes away because I don't really care for them. Not because of that so much, but because of that strap. It just hurts my toe.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying as far as the thinner heel and you're thick and you're feeling like you're not balanced. So, you know, go for the one with like that platform.
Yes, I usually
maybe not a thin heel, but something just like a little bit of a thicker, like maybe even if it's thicker up here and then it slims down.
Okay.
That'll give you, because those are the type of heels that I buy, because I'm butt heavy. Like my round is round.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I know I'm thick like that, I feel that imbalance. Like, okay, certain shoes I can't wear outside because of the imbalance. So I have to purchase a certain type of a heel to give me that confidence that I need without making me feel like I'm going to fall backwards.
Yeah, that's what worries me. All of my heels are very fat and have a platform. And sometimes I feel like it looks a little young, which is not a bad thing, but I would love to have some of those like slimmer.
So I'm going to do this. I know we just been chit-chatting, but I'm going to grab these for you. Oops, hold on. I don't want you to see that I don't have.
You're so good.
So let's see. This one is a good one. So
ooh.
I would say, so you see how that heel is curved, but it goes into a skinny frame and that platform is there.
Yes.
And I think I only paid $15 for this shoe.
What? Okay, yeah, we need to talk. We need to talk offline.
And then this is another one of my favorites. You can't see how thick that is right there. Yes. So that platform is there. And then again, it's thick here and then it comes down. So it gives me that great support. And I think I only paid like $20 for this shoe. So yeah, definitely with shoes, I'm your girl. We need to talk.
I need a shoe strategy for this pageant, because I am.
I love that.
I need to start practicing walking. I need to get a gown that I can walk in and walk in the heels, so that when I actually
get that practice and you can feel comfortable with that. Yeah.
Get on stage and shine and not worry about tripping or falling.
So will we be able to watch as viewers? Would it be aired on like a streaming platform anywhere?
No, I'll have to find out for you. I know that there's definitely there is a competition that I'm going to need help with. So it's the People's Choice Awards. So there will be a link that's going to go out. So I'll share it with you once I think on March 1st, they're releasing the voting link for People's Choice.
Okay, so we can vote. And
yeah.
And I was going to ask, that was going to be my next question. Like, can we vote? Can we cast our vote? So everybody, Miss Michigan, I need for y'all to be looking out when that link comes available. I will be posting it on all social platforms so we can vote for our beautiful Amanda Sweet Miss Michigan, Miss Voluptuous Michigan.
I love it.
Okay. And I love Voluptuous. I love Voluptuous.
I have to show you.
That's what I think caught me with the whole title is Voluptuous. Yes, honey. Yes.
I need to wear it out. I need to like go make appearances and things like that.
Have you been contacted any news people? Do you have a PR person that's helping you with these?
Yeah, I'm trying to find a PR person. I haven't had much success finding one that aligns. Like I've had a couple meetings and it's like dating. So I'm just like, I've done so many events and done so much PR for those events. I'm kind of like, I think I can do this. So I did my first reach out actually yesterday on the Detroit Women's Leadership Network page on Facebook. And I got today I had 5 calls for interviews. I'm having an interview with you. So I'm going to be going on an interview next week and doing a podcast this weekend. And so I'm kind of like, I'm just starting because I just got the announcement, just got everything in the mail. So I'm like, okay, it's go time, baby. Let's go.
Because that's how I found you, through that same Facebook group, the Women's Leadership group on Facebook. And as soon as I saw it and I read it, I'm like, Miss Voluptuous, like that's a thing. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to contact her because I didn't even know it was a thing. So thank you for even bringing awareness.
Yes,
that is something that there's a thing out there for that.
Yeah, which is crazy because I'm like, how did the plus size community in Michigan is thriving, and there's so many amazing plus size creators and designers and models and all of this stuff, and I'm like, how has there never been
a Miss Voluptuous Michigan. There's a Miss Voluptuous Illinois. She's so sweet. There's a Miss Voluptuous Ohio. She's also adorable. And there's a couple other people in the Midwest, but there was no Voluptuous Michigan ever.
Wow.
So I'm like, what? Okay.
Well, I'm happy that you're the first. Your personality, your spirit and energy is just so inviting. And like, even in our texting conversations yesterday, when we were just like trying to set up this,
yeah,
you were just like, hey, I'm so happy. And I'm like, oh my God, I just want to hug her. So
I'm like, oh
yeah,
I love it. Thank you so much. Like, it's, you know, I was kind of going into down. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? But I'm like, this title is the opportunity for me to meet amazing business owners, amazing creators in Michigan, and give them an opportunity to come with me, you know, like, and even if they're there in spirit, it's like, you're a part of this journey with me now. And like, we can't undo that. You're my first interview as Miss Voluptuous Michigan. So like, you're in this experience with me now, and I get to share your platform on my social media pages.
Yeah.
And that was a unexpected, delightful, positive part that I didn't think about when I was applying. I was like, I was just applying to apply, but now I'm like, I get to put all these people on. I get to go, you know, I get to represent my people, and I get to do this with you. So I'm very excited, and I'm so grateful that you got to chat with me today.
Like I told you before, I'm just honored that, for one, you replied to a complete stranger. Two, you actually went to the page to see what it is that I'm trying to accomplish.
And accomplishing.
Thank you. And then you came back to me and you allowed me to be your first. Yeah. So from our first Miss Voluptuous Michigan to her first interview with your girl, Liana Michelle on Faithfully Her, we are breaking the first barriers around here. And we are setting trends and examples and leading the way. Your story is amazing. And I love you so much for being open and honest and sharing it so willingly, and taking us on your journey with you. I'm so excited about everything that you're doing. I can't wait to come and do a collaboration with you with Partying with a Purpose, and just other future things that we can do together, whether it's in that spotlight or not. But I know that there's a lot of great things that can be accomplished, and you have such a good energy about the things that you want to do in your community, the things that you are doing in your community. And I'm just so happy to be a part of uplifting you. So give me this. How can people reach out to say congratulations? Facebook, IG, how can we find you?
I would say Instagram's my ace in the hole, but on all social media platforms, you can find me at Amanda Sweet 106. That's AMANDA. Last name is Candy, SWEET. Amanda Sweet 106. Okay. On all social media platforms.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is in the description box.
Perfect.
I'll have I'm gonna put your bio.
Yeah.
In the description box, and then how you can be reached so people can reach out and congratulate you. When it's time to vote, they'll be already your Instagram followers, so they'll be able to see that link so they can vote for you.
I'm so excited.
Once that link comes out, I will repost as well and remind people of the interview and the clips and everything, and this is where you can vote. So on my end, we're going to do all we can do to help you win that international title.
Oh my gosh, we're doing it together.
Michigan. Yes.
Thank you so much.
I cannot wait for this. Like, I'm so excited for you. You would think like I was your mom or something.
I'll accept it.
Because this is that's a huge deal. And I've never met a beauty queen before. Oh. You are a beautiful beauty queen with a beautiful heart and spirit. And I'm just really, really honored that you shared this time with me today.
Thank you. I'm honored to just even be here with you. And I can't wait to grow and glow with you. I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot more of each other.
Yes, we will, girl. Okay. Well, I'm going to let you go because I've held you long enough. To everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Please, please, please go to your Instagram, Amanda Sweet 106. Follow Amanda, become her Facebook friend, find her on TikTok, like her videos. And when it's time to cast your vote, please, 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 y'all, take that 2 seconds and click that button and vote for our girl right here from Michigan, Miss Voluptuous. Ooh, that just sounds so good. Every time I say it, I just want to do a roll. Shake my
I'll do it with you. Yes, I love it.
Okay, and thank you all again for tuning in to Faithfully Her. One thing I just want to leave you guys with is always know that there's a purpose to everything. And so even when you're going through your hardest moments in life, there's a reason for it. And it, like Amanda said, is to springboard you to a higher level. So just remember to stay in the fight. Stay in the fight. It's okay to feel what you're feeling. It's okay to have that experience, but it's not okay to give up on yourself. So stay in the fight. Stay in tune with who you are, and just remember to love yourself, flaws and all. No matter what happens in this world, always love yourself, because we are here to show you and give you more love and more support each and every day that we can. Okay, so again, thank you guys for tuning in. I love you all so much. Have a beautiful week in Christ. Bye.